We've put together this simple 3D model to show more clearly the ABC Central concept. We'll start with a look at the layout and features and end with a quick fly through so you can get a better feel of the place. This opening view is of the Nairi Ave buildings as they currently stand. We are hovering above Nairi Ave and we're looking down at the commercial building at number 1 on the right and the chapel and the hall here on the left. Spinning around to the rear, you can see the Sunday school room here on the left and the utility areas at the rear of the hall, as well as the sub-chapel in the foreground. In the first stage of construction, number 1 Nairi, the Sunday school room and the utilities at the rear of the hall will be demolished. This makes way for us to excavate a basement beneath our new building that sits across the rear of the site. Though much of the site will need to be excavated, we have minimised the depth of excavation required, limiting the floor level of the basement garage to around the existing ground floor level of the commercial building at number 1. This keeps the new building above an existing sewer line and will minimise cost and risk. However, it does introduce a small quirk in that the ground floor level of the new building will be one step up around 300 millimetres from the existing floor level in the hall and chapel. So spinning the basement around, we can see the entry ramp to the outdoor parking area off Nairi Ave. So vehicles will flow along off Nairi Ave, underneath this deck area on level 1, into the basement, around and through and up the exit ramp, and then they will head out again where the current entrance is beyond the chapel. This one-way system maximises parking space and keeps pedestrians safer. Note that in addition to the ramps into and out of the car parks, there are 2 sets of stairs that service the front and the rear of the building. So here's what the parking looks like when it's all filled up. It looks tight, and it is, but the cars shown on this model are the equivalent of a large family car, something like a Holden Commodore. So it's workable and efficient. There are 38 car parks in total in this ABC Central concept. So now let's leave the parking lot and take a look at what we're really interested in. Level 1 of the new building, constructed on top of the basement. Although the basement is L-shaped, the new building which sits on top of it is intentionally rectangular to minimise construction costs, maximise the use of space available, and to link in with our existing buildings. Looking at the various spaces on level 1, the largest area is in the lower right-hand corner, and it's the auditorium. This space is double height, around 6 metres internally, and importantly has no pillars. There are storage and plant rooms located either side of where the stage would be located, and the stage itself would afford storage beneath it. Running down the left-hand side of the new building is the main concourse, which links the existing buildings to the new one, providing circulation and social spaces. The main entry is still through between the hall and the chapel, and there are entries from the rear beside the sub-chapel and from the front via a ramp that runs up from Nairi Ave and onto the deck in front of the hall. Across the top, we can see an internal stairway which goes to the second level, and the location in here of where the new toilets and utilities will go. So let's take a look at the fit out and see what that might look like. With the stage at the right hand side and seating is showing, the auditorium comfortably seats around 330 people. Out on the concourse, there is a foyer and reception area as people arrive through the existing hallway from Nairi Ave or from the sub-chapel entry. The middle portion of the concourse is circulation and lounge space, which can be furnished with coffee tables and couches, and it's where the main entry to the auditorium is located. The lower portion of the concourse is a cafe kitchen area with stairway access up to level 2 behind it. The cafe flows outside onto the east-facing deck where there are chairs and outdoor plants. The utility area provides men's and women's bathrooms, an accessibility bathroom and another accessibility bathroom with a shower. There's also a laundry area and locations for storage and cleaning equipment. On Sundays, Level 1 provides all we need in terms of spaces for our worship and kids programs. We have the hall, chapel, sub-chapel and concourse spaces to configure in various ways to house our kids and young people. So Level 1 of ABC Central is where most things will happen. But wait, there's more. Let's now take a quick look at Level 2. Level 2 provides more spaces either for ministry or to lease out for income. An internal balcony running across the width of the auditorium below gives access to what could be several divided spaces on Level 2. Level 2 has its own toilets and kitchen and flows out onto 2 decks, one facing west above the sub-chapel and one facing Nairi Ave above the cafe deck below. Existing rooms between the chapel and hall and the sound crow's nest are accessible from the new Level 2 space. So Level 2 as shown here is a blank canvas since we have a range of possible uses for this space. However, in the costings we have allowed for it to be fitted out and to use as office or ministry spaces. So, with a roof on, here's what the rear of the property might look like. And spinning it around, here's what the public might see from Nairi Ave when it's completed. Just a couple of notes before we go on a fly-through. We've tried to balance the occupancy and uses of the building with parking and outdoor spaces. We've attempted to use the east and west facing aspects of the property where possible to achieve light-filled, welcoming spaces for the community. We've tried to pitch the quality level of the building as a Toyota Corolla, not a Bentley and not a Lada. My apology to any Lada owners out there. So the pricing has been done for good quality, middle of the road finishes and fit out. The costings include allowances for re-roofing and painting the hall and chapel, and perhaps reconfiguring the main entrance, which we would prefer face the street. Note that none of the aesthetic details of this model are intrinsic to the project. We are attempting to convey the general layout and concept, not colours and not the way our fixtures might look. Okay. So let's now imagine we are visiting the site on a Sunday. We're going to head in through the front door. So we're now in that space between the existing hall and the chapel. We move through here to the new concourse upper ramp and we have arrived at reception. You can get a peek through the door into the auditorium space. And here we are looking towards the cafe with the reception to our right. Let's head to the cafe and we'll spin around and take a look at where we've come from. Looking around again, we can now see the stage, and let's go up and join whoever it is up on the stage and see what their view from up here is like. With this view you can see that internal balcony that gives access to the level 2 rooms above. Let's spin around and look from the back. This is a view from the sound system, and we'll turn and we'll head back out Went through a wall there somehow. And we'll go up the stairs to level 2. Before we do, let's have a glance back. Look down here. Here's the concourse down here, and here is the level 2 above the concourse. Jump up here. Let's pop out onto that balcony and look down at the stage. And we'll look left out over the auditorium. Back into level 3 again. Sorry, level 2. And we'll move through to where that balcony space would be, out on top of the subchapel. And here's the area where the utilities and kitchen might be, and the stairway coming up from below. So that's pretty much taken you on a walk through the new building. So that's ABC Central. I hope that has been enlightening and has given you some clarity as to what the plans might look like.